Hey there everybody, Eric from Outer Limitless coming at you today with another video. Now Hogue is a brand whose products I've come to greatly enjoy. Well, I use Hogue knives. I've even covered Hogue products at the Hogue booth at SHOT Show and also at Blade Show. Again, Hogue products I do greatly enjoy, but today I am absolutely thrilled to be able to get to some good use with Hogue products for my firearms. So here in my hands, this is the Sig P365XL. Now, real quick here, just a safety check. Nothing to worry about. Everything is clear. No problem. Ready to go. With the exception being, well, I've been doing some dry fire practice. And, well, in here I have my laser. So, pretty cool. I've been using this to do a little bit of dry fire practice. But at this point, well, we're going to outfit this with a Hogue Grip. So, here in my hands, this is a Hogue Grip. This is called the Handall Beavertail Grip Sleeve. Now, this is made specifically for the Sig P365XL. If you wanted to use one of these for the Sig P365, you would have to get a slightly different grip. But again, this one here specifically for the XL. Now, my plan with my XL is to build this out just a little bit more robust, a little bit bigger, a few more features, so that it's going to be more of my quote-unquote, like, home self-defense handgun. It's going to be a little less for me about the carry, a little bit more about the sort of home defense, so more of like a permanent setup, where the 365 is going to be more of my carry gun. So at this point, we're going to take a few minutes, we're going to take a look at this, figure out what it takes to get this on this 365XL, and then I'm going to hit the range and see how it feels in my hands. But with that said, I have a whole bunch to do and a whole bunch to share with you, and if you're interested in seeing a little bit more about what I'm about to get into, do me a favor, stay tuned. And so, as I mentioned, getting into this here, we are going to look at this Hogue Handall Beavertail Grip Sleeve, which I think is going to help me just build this out a little bit more. Now, one of the things that I found is when I went to the range for the first time, I do have a tendency to grip just a little bit deep, where these firearms are more compact than a full-size firearm, and my hands are fairly large. I do find that I am gripping a little bit deep. And what I was hoping is, well, not that this is going to be a solve-all for that, but this is going to beef up the grip just a bit. It's going to push my hand out just a little bit, give me a little bit more purchase on the handle, and really force my finger, hopefully, into a little bit of a better position. I was digging too deep for sure, and really getting kind of on the joint of my index finger rather than on the pad for a nice smooth trigger pull. It was causing me to jerk the firearm just a little bit and shoot low and left. Now, again, I really don't think this is going to be a solve-all, but I do think it's going to help out, and it's going to just enhance the firearm overall. So at this point, we're going to get this out, just sliding out these components here. Not really too much to pay attention to on the rest of the packaging, but what you do see here is some instructions. So I'm going to read up on this real quick, and then we're going to get into installation of this grip. And so as we get into this, the first thing it says, obviously make sure the firearm is empty, remove the clip, and well, this is kind of funny because they say that, well, let's see here. Hogue emphasizes grip security and safety over ease of installation. Depending on your model of firearm, the installation may be a strenuous process to ensure a perfect fit. Now, the packaging is actually instrumental in my ability to do this. So the first thing it says is to cut a couple of strips. So basically in a shoehorn shape, cutting these strips approximately 1 inch wide. Fold the strips down the center into a V, round the edges into a shoehorn shape. So that's exactly what we're going to do. We're going to cut off this piece of the packaging, leveraging this here. I'm going to have a shoehorn shape right here. So this is going to be 1, and this right here, this is going to be 2. Now, if you had any intentions of returning this product, too late now. You have now cut your packaging completely into pieces. And that's what it's saying, is to round out all these corners. So just real quick here, and this might be a little bit wide. They were saying about 1 inch. So I think I'm going to trim this side down actually just a little bit, which ironically is just about the width of this part of the packaging. You'll notice this bump here. That's just about 1 inch wide. Rounding out all these corners, very simple, and I am going to do this twice. And so now that I have these cut, they say fold them in half. So right there, there's one. And this one's got a little label on it, but that should not matter. 2. There we go. All right. So we recommend warming the handall for ease of installation. So, well, guess it's time to break out the old hairdryer. And it says we also need an alcohol-based lubricant. It says such as Windex. So, have this here, might as well use it. If that's what they recommend, let's do it. So, what I need to do, heat this up, install these sort of, call them shoe horns, lubricate this whole thing, and then jam this into place and get it to fit up and in. And you can see this already seems to be basically smaller than this handle. So that's going to be a big deal to get this to sit properly. So at this point, let's heat it up. So that seems pretty hot. It says to lubricate everything. Yeah, that's definitely hot. Lubricate the firearm. I'm not a huge fan of this, but it is what it is. Get these shoe horns in here. So yeah, that's definitely warm. So these, I think this is just going to help to kind of pinch this in here. So yeah, I'm going to do this before it cools down too much. Now, sort of sliding this into place. This seems a little awkward to me, but let's go for it. Ah, that's not great. Screw the shoe horns. Let's just pop this puppy in here. I don't know if this is going to work for me. Shoe horns or no shoe horns? There we go. This is going to be a wrestling match. I can tell you that right now. Okay. Going for this without the shoe horns, and the lube, I think, is going to be enough to allow me to fit this on. I don't really like the shoehorn idea. They were kind of in the way. This is going to be a little bit slow going, but it's definitely going. Yeah, maybe this is the spot where you need the shoehorns. A little more lube. All right, so just cutting away for a second. What I did was I actually did go back to the shoe horns. It made a nice difference in the ability for me to slide this up and all the way up to the beaver tail without too much in the way of friction. So it was really pretty easy. What I did was I took the shoe horn, I actually slid it in from the side and then just shimmied it around to the edges and pushed it in as far as I could. And then on this side, same thing. Took the little shoe horn, just kind of bought myself some space, slid that in, slid it around to the front, pushed it down as far as I could, and it just really reduced the friction on this to allow it to slide all the way up and into place. Now at this point, I do want to make sure that it is properly centered. It looks to be fairly close. I think that's about right. And at this point, wow, does that really feel great. So that does feel very nice. And you can see the beaver tail sitting nicely really wrapping up and in there. And, well, at least the Windex is going to fully evaporate. I'm not thrilled about it, spraying this, but at the same time, not a big deal. And in fact, I'm going to go to the range tomorrow, do a little more shooting, and then I owe these firearms a nice cleanup anyway. So that's going to work out pretty well for me. So all in all, this did work fairly easy. Literally only took me, I'd say maybe 10 minutes at the max. And now that I've done it once, I'd be able to put this on a firearm in less than 5 minutes. So just gaining a little bit of familiarity, you can see that works out pretty well. Now, I can say already, you might need to be just a little bit careful where that rides right up against the mag release. And looking at it closely, you can see that is pretty tight, and that sits where it wants to. I mean, I feel like that grip is really sitting exactly where it should. So checking it just real quick for function, not a problem. I don't think that's going to be an issue for me. So at this point, I'd say this looks really good and it feels fantastic. And what you do get with this is you get that nice indexing point. Now, it's a little bit tight for my hands. Can I slide this down just a touch and really finesse this depth? I think that beaver tail would probably kind of follow and contour with it. It is pushed down a little bit to the point where as I slid this up, the beaver tail just bent with the beaver tail on the actual grip module itself. So I think if I was to slide this Hogue grip down, match in right on the bottom, you can see the bottom of that grip, I think it would open things up for me a little bit. So I might have gone a little too deep sending this. So I'm going to attempt to get those shoehorns in here and back it off just a little bit. That's going to buy me some more space here for my grip. You can see that's a little tight for my finger, but let's see what we can do. And so again, just leveraging these shoehorns and sliding them in, you can see that is much better. In fact, nice and flush and even right across the bottom, right below the magazine. I mean, that looking perfect. So generally speaking, a nice adjustment. I actually like that transition much better. And then it eases my concerns on the mag release. In terms of my grip, well, that seems to be much better. You can see indexing there, and it definitely gives me a more positive grip with room for my finger. So that feeling really good. So at this point, oh man, let's get this to the range, and let's see how it feels in some practical shooting experience.
I'm gonna do what you said.
Okay, go ahead and I'll watch. I didn't want to like interject. I'll see how you grab it, yep.
You want me up here, right?
Yes, sir. Support your main grip. You're there. It's just trigger pull. Right there. You're there. You're there. Oh, it's okay. Good.
Not great, but better.
No, you're there.
Better.
How'd it feel?
It felt good. I think I have to say, this grip, feel this grip. Come in here and feel this grip.
It's fabulous. Yeah.
You like that?
Yeah.
I mean, that's pretty tactical.
Yep.
It fits good in your hand, you know? It's a nice gun. I still think...
All right, 365XL. That's a Hogue grip. So aftermarket Hogue grip.
Okay. Great shot.
Trying to look at just the target and not the sights. That's hard. That's a different skill.
It is hard.
Crazy.
Well, so what do I think about these Hogue grips? Well, let's just put it into perspective. Granted, I've only used it at the range one time, but so far it definitely feels really good, and to the point where, well, I am going to outfit my 365 Micro Compact with a Hogue grip as well. So I have now purchased an additional grip, which I think is awesome. And even though it's going to take up just a little bit of extra space on my carry firearm, am I concerned about that? No. And in fact, if I gain a little bit of control and have just a little extra purchase, and it fills out my hand just a little bit better, well, isn't there something to be said for that? So ultimately, I am very happy with the Hogue grips. Now, I do leave myself, I guess, in a position to potentially change things up if I so choose, because, well, I still have my original factory grips without anything on them. So these grip modules will pretty much stay like this and then give me the ability to change things out if I so choose. So at this point, the fact that I'm kind of building up these firearms by leveraging additional grip modules is definitely a bonus. And that's the luxury you get with these Sig firearms. I mean, the P365 is an example of the many firearms in Sig's lineup now that are modular, and the fact that you can kind of, add the grips, beef them up, beef up these firearms just a little bit, but gain the control with the grip. I definitely like these. So all in all, I can say I am definitely a fan. And so moving forward, I really honestly don't think I could see having a firearm without one of these Hogue grips. I mean, it really does feel good. It aids in purchase. It indexes so well. And you heard my buddy Brad's initial instinct. I mean, he didn't even know I was doing a review on this, and that was his off-the-cuff reaction. So the fact of the matter is, he felt as though he shot the best that day leveraging this firearm. He was very impressed at the grip, and I am too. So more to be had. I do need to do more testing, but that's part of the reason why outfitting now my 365 Micro Compact as well as the XL is going to be important. So far, so good. And I do have to say, I am a big fan of Hogue products. So, all right, guys, thanks for stopping by. I hope you like what you saw. I hope you found it a little bit informative. If you like what you saw, please like, share, and subscribe. And as always, thanks for stopping by. Take care now. I'll see you soon.